Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the BK Show. Well, we're going to do this. It is for the show. We're going to have me thoughts like your AFL. You've got your SANFL update, South Australian National Football League. We're also going to be doing, maybe we have a bit of a time quick through of the Netball update as well. That we have, that's the extra mix of that book. Right, let's introduce Aiden. Welcome, mate.
Yeah, here we are back in the studio again. This is going to be a great episode.
Absolutely. So, well, what I'm telling you right now, and I know, there's been a lot behind the scenes, we haven't been caught up for so long. So, we'll be starting with, let's move down to the AFL update. Right. So, if you're listening to the podcast and the YouTube, before, make sure you follow webcast, Apple, Spotify, just name a few, then YouTube, like, down below, hit that notification. Man, goodness, if you like this idea as well, give it a like, keep watching, because my goodness, what an actual amazing version of our version. I love being into bounce version of the top show Aiden and I like watching, and there's some crazy ones. But let's get into the AFL. Aiden, I'll let you share the first game between the Crows and the Cats. Mate, wet book, take it away.
Game 1, round 13 of 2026. We're at the halfway point of the season. Can you believe it? And we're starting in Adelaide at the Adelaide Oval for the Crows and the Cats. Now, this game was an absolute epic to start round 13. Probably one of the greatest games at Adelaide Oval between these two sides, if not all games at Adelaide Oval. Final score in this one, Adelaide 11-9-75. Defeated the Geelong Cats 10-14-74. Adelaide Crows winning by 1 point at the death. And for me, this is about what all the Crows have talked about all year, is having these moments and being able to take them. And for the first time since I saw them against Collingwood in round 1, they actually did take an opportunity against a team who they are going to be playing in September should they get there. This is really a real step in the right direction for the Crows. There's been a lot of questions about, are they capable? Are they able to play at this level this year, coming off that minor premiership and then straight sets exit in the finals last year? I think they can. I think they're a team right now who have just flicked that switch. This is the game that gives the Crows all that momentum to go into the second half. They're going to have, they've had their bye. They've had their bye, so they don't even have to worry about having a week off. They just can roll all the way through to September now. That is a huge advantage for the Crows. Now, for the Cats, they are a team who I said will be around the mark in September. This loss, I think, they're in that logjam of teams, and I think when you're in that logjam of teams, I think that's logjams from about 5th down to 10th, really, only a couple of games, and that's what's going to separate you from playing in a 5-6 game or playing into a wild card. And these are the opportunities. We talk about playing against teams who are around you, and something I'm really big about is beating the teams who are around you. Now, Geelong didn't do it this time. Now, we know what the Cats are capable of. We know they're here to do business. Just this time, the check bounced at the bank for the Cats as the Crows were victorious here, but effort where effort is for the Cats. Brilliant effort. Just couldn't find their way back in front after that early score from the Cats. Crows held the rest of the game at that point. They hang on. They never lost their lead once they got on that roll to win the game. Now, my player of the game here, it should be quite obvious. He was best on ground by an absolute mile. Jordan Dawson, 131 fantasy, 3 goals, 22 touches, 17 kicks, 5 handballs, 7 marks, 9 tackles. And also good for the Crows, we had McAndrew, 128 fantasy, 16 touches, 5 kicks, 11 handballs, 4 tackles, 4 marks, 7 tackles, and 51 hitouts. Best for the Cats, Max Holmes, 110 fantasy, 30 touches, 16 kicks, 14 handballs, 3 and 6, and Bailey Smith, 108 fantasy, 34, 19, 15, 3 and 5.
Yeah, absolutely, Aiden. Thank you so much for your input. Look, it's wet football. Pick up the footy, tap it forward, all pick it up. Now, of course, I'm going to start with Geelong right now. Yes, they come off from a loss against Carlton. But they won that game. You can't come into a game, have a Bailey Smith, to be, he's the best. He is one more than anything. He's so good. fine. It's not about one team on that. Not about Smith. Jeremy Cameron did not perform being Geelong sexy ball. They did not kick. They're kicking bad footy. We're not going to talk about points like we did against the Dockers and the Tigers. Aiden is absolutely laughing at that. Now, if you like to keep more points and goals and you can't kick straight in the wet in the last 30 seconds, we know we turn it up. That's pathetic from the Cats. Sorry, no offense, as second team, yes. Why sexy? Why Geelong? I do not know. They were good back in the day, not anymore. Now, coming to the crowd attendance, pretty good effort. I gotta say, if you are a Crows supporter, you're brave in the red. You know you love your winter football. You're right behind, the northern end. Now, anything else happens with that? I think it was about 42,314, if I got that correct, on TV. Now, I was asked by a friend I know for a long time to go to this game, but I decided not to go because I make plans watching on TV, which is a pretty right decision overall. And my goodness, when I don't want to talk too much, and I want to share this right now, I am a field umpire. I do April Masters South Australia. So I don't want to go against anything. When there's a lot going on with pushing the back, and I'm going to say right now, doesn't matter if you shove them by the side, any side, that is an official rule in the book. It is official. I'm going to input that. The LA Pros, slow starters, and you come and I mentioned, and they had their first week. Comes to advantage, but it's most important where they come in. Yes, Adelaide's lost. Dan Curtin's come back. Matt King has come back from where he's Irish. Great offender. It's come back, played for second the LA Crows in the SANFL. So I tell you right now, the LA Crows are looking pretty good. Yes, I respect Carl Kick. There was a contest there. Yes, he's suspended for 1 week, but that's okay. It happens. All accidents, footy. But I don't know how I can read it. But I think not besides that awful point taker, it happens. Josh Shelley passed on to a team, for Texas going to hit that. Now, what the problem is, there was no backup, but making another option, Josh Shelley had ability to go. So all I'm saying is, well done to the Adelaide Crows. Kick better. Geelong, go back to training, get Jeremy Cameron, because guess what? You need a break. Big time. Then they're coming up. All right. I'm going to go back to my plan again. You know what I've been doing the last couple of weeks. I think pretty good at making 5x5. Just for today's show, in this episode, John Dawson, brave soul fella, you've been through being the captain for this club season 2000. You've done this for a long time. Yes, you are star. Heads up, mate. You're an absolute legend. And that's one I'm going to give it to I'm just going to give it to Lockie and McAndrew. Another player has stepped up, actually killed him in the ruck contests for Geelong. Look, Max Holmes and I don't know who else. Really don't know who else. I do apologise not having my phones not working, so it's all right. I check it. So on the screen for this game, player that I'm going to give it now. I don't want to say it too much, passing all overall. I'm going to get to Patrick Dangerfield. Yes, he's a player that he can dominate. Did not find those tackles. He's a big unit. But right now, they are my top two from the Crows and the Cats. Crows, get ready. The Dogs are going to come and woofing at you. Geelong, I can relate to having the week off if I get round 14. No, they take on the Gold Coast Suns. So, Geelong, prepare yourself. Gold Coast are coming. So, that's it. On to the next game. So, we're done. Thursday night, what we can say, perfect night for footy in Melbourne. I watched it a little bit, but what's the last 5 minutes game? Now, I don't know in history, and your 9-17 is bad kicking. Why you just play for Freo? Turn it up. So, in this round, can you name there was 2 teams have a week off, said that right now, so the teams did not play Richmond and the GW Giants. Out of the 16 teams, think about how many score 70 points plus under 80, between 70 and 80, and how many scored exactly the same scoreline but different ways. Have a think about that. All right. Well, Friday night footy, I think it was a pretty big crowd. Hawthorn get back to training. You know better than that. 9-17 and scoring 111 in of one half. Over the Dogs, they got the W. 12-5, 77, 9, 17, 71. The Dogs, I'm going to start with you. You got better as the night goes on. In general, it was pretty even. After only, they did not start well. They found a way. they found they kept 5 goals unanswered to 1 goal. And that's how the Hawthorn Hawks lost the game. They can't keep straight. Perfect night for football. They've got their will day in there, and they still cannot win. Yes, that happens. Western Bulldogs, I tell you right now, they do take on Adelaide. Both teams just won. So last time we'll share previews of those matches between the Crows and the Bulldogs very soon. That will be in Melbourne. Getting back to this game, look, they are finding ways, the Dogs. They do not have that Sean Darcy in their key forward. No, they don't. Luke Patrick has found a way to actually win the game. Yes, they've had some challenges in the way. The Sydney Swans made the heavy defeaters. Fair. But they do have talent. I don't realise I do have them up there, but do not have them. If you can win 1 point a week and not have a good percent and win the premiership, you won the flag. So anything can happen. And they are finding ways. They've got an all-time, not a tall forward, but they do have great field. And that's why players from the Dogs are finding ways. And that's what good does. They prepared everything. They know how good Hawthorn is. They know how they play. We're done with the Dogs. We now with the Hawks. They're not flying at the moment. They haven't won in those seasons. They are winning and they drop. I've never seen that in understanding. Right. Yes, they got some good players Hawthorn, but the leaders, not just when you kick straighter, then you know better than that. That happens. Football, good crowd, yes. These rivals, MCG, I think Hawthorn are better, but actually, Western Bulldogs are pretty good MCG. You cannot go past them in their history at MCG before Marble Stadium. They didn't even play there. So they are very good in the club feeling, and they found a way, and they did it. Fortunately, the Hawthorn Hawks, who would they take on? Do they have a bye? Yes, they do. This is a good time. Get rested, get fresh legs, find what they need to do. And the following week, I know we're not going to think of this, but they will take on Gold Coast. Well, you never know. If Gold Coast, Hawthorn actually find a way to get straighter, that'll be a much closer game. But all right, enough is enough. Play the game, making it all strict and sharp. Now, there's a few players. Now, this was our Hawthorn home game. We got Will Day, German import. Yeah, there will be my Hawthorn best. Bailey Dale from the Dogs. And I can't go past the skipper of the Bond. Mate, you've been my best for so long. And you notice on my YouTube, I've done top 5 each team. They are not counted as my best player. They are just best for the game. Stay tuned at the end of the season. It's going to be one step better than ever this show. You're seeing different ways how we run the show, or look out. The BJ Show, Footy Show Awards is going to be back. Enough is enough. I'm going to share my thoughts. I'm going to let Aiden take it away. All right, Aiden, here we go.
Yeah, this was a real interesting one. So, North Hawthorn and Western Bulldogs, always an interesting game at the MCG. And for me, Hawthorn, I just look at that. I look at that score to start with. I look at that 9-17 to start with, and I go, "Is that really all you're capable of? Is that all you can do, Hawthorn?" Because as Ben said, you had a lead, and then it just kind of suddenly evaporated into thin air. You're up 4 goals at half time, and then just completely blank in the second half. 1 goal, 111 in the second half for the Hawks, and that's not good enough at any level of football, let alone at AFL level. Now, for a team who believe that they're right in the window and a team who believe that they're right in the mix, this is a disappointing performance by any standard. This is a performance that brings up those questions of, are we in the mix, or are we just going to be good enough to get into the wild card? Because that's starting to be the question now for Hawthorn. Because when they're at their best, they are good enough to hang with anybody. But when they get into this form, it gets dangerous, because they are a team known to have negative score differential, so more behinds than goals by some margin. And this one is nearly 1 behind per goal. So they just need to focus on finding better opportunities and not just hacking anything on target. Because, with footy, you got the 6-pointer, you got the 1-pointer. So anything that goes through the sticks is a score, but you've got to get it through the big 6 for the big score. Now, whether that comes down to training or preparation or a change in the game plan coming off the bye, it's an opportunity for Hawthorn to really sit back and think about who they are and who they want to be in the second half of the season, because they are better than this, and I know that they know that they're better than this, and it's just them having to see that they are capable of doing more. Now, for the Doggies, this is a big win for the Doggies team, who we thought maybe may have fallen off a little bit, but they do get a big win here in this one. That way, and I'll talk about this as well. The Doggies, their score differential, very positive, 12-5-77. Basically, less than one behind for every 2 goals scored for the Dogs. And that's the separation between these teams. The Dogs had 17 scoring shots. Hawthorn had 17 behinds. And that is the difference between a team who are trending upwards right now and a team who are trending downwards right now. Now, Hawthorn, they have got players back, but it's about their kicking efficiency. We see this when they play well, they have a very good score differential. So they're a lot closer to where the Doggies are. But falls away, the Dogs pick up a big win. As I said, positive score differential for them, pick up a big win here over the Hawks, a team who I think they're going to be around the mix with for those 5-6 spots or possibly the high end of the wild card. So best on ground for me for the Doggies and the Hawks in this one. Bailey Dale, 125 fantasy, 1 goal, 36, 24, 12, 6 and 1. And the Bond for the Doggies as well, 109, 2 goals, 24, 14, 10, 3 and 7. For the Hawks, Will Day, 115, 1 goal, 25, 11, 14, 5 and 8. And John Newcomb, 114, 36, 17, 19, 4 and 3. And for our third game of round 13, we head out to Bunbury at the Hands Oval for one of North Melbourne's home games in West Australia. They played Fremantle, and this one was not a contest from the end of the first quarter. First quarter, very, very close. 4 goals to Freo, 2 for North Melbourne. Second quarter, North start with kicking 2. And then the rest of the game, it's Fremantle 19, North none. Yes, Fremantle 19 goals. From the point that North Melbourne kicked their 4th goal, Fremantle then went on a run of 19 goals to 0. North Melbourne ended the game 4-7-31. Fremantle 24-11. 155, the biggest win in the history of the Fremantle Dockers. And North Melbourne were nowhere. They were nowhere. I've seen disgraces on a football field. I have felt completely lost from my team when my team does something like this. But North Melbourne's supposed to have turned the corner here. Apparently, the corner led straight off a cliff because 4-7. You're paying for home games in West Australia. You are literally paying the West Australian economy to host this game, and you go out there and you score 4-7. North Melbourne, what are you doing? This is not good enough. This isn't even close to acceptable. And somehow we're going to turn around and say they just had a bad week. Well, I think I've had enough of bad week for North Melbourne. This team has been 4 years in the making, and this is what 4 years does. 4 goals. Really? Come on. Do better. I don't even have to talk about Freo here, because they kicked 155 points. It's pretty obvious. They smashed you. So, North Melbourne, do better, because the honeymoon is very soon over between you and Clarkson now that the team's on the rise. This is either the moment where you sit back and you go, maybe we're going to do a bit better next week, or you go, no, we want this guy out of here. That's your choice to make. Make sure you make the right call with your performances. Player of the game. It's a whole stack of Dockers here. There is a whole stack of Dockers here. It is unfair how many players are lined up in the hundreds for Fremantle. Not one North Melbourne player scored over 100 fantasy. Best on ground for me by a big way, though. It's got to be the key forwards, the 2 key forwards. So, first off, Patrick Voss, 124 AFL fantasy 4-4, 2016 4-10 and 2 his split. And Josh Tracy, 84, 4 goals, 13 at 9, 4, 6 and 1 his splits. And I was also impressed with Murphy Reid, 102 fantasy, 2 goals, 23, 15, 8, 8 and 1. Ben, your turn.
Thank you, Aiden. Oh my goodness, that's what you called a clear coach wants. Yes, he's Fremantle, but he's also making a message to the North Melbourne Footy Club. Where are you, North Melbourne? I thought you've been pulled out like 1-1. You're up in the about 1-1. Think your season's done. No, long season. You went from high to low. Fremantle big winners. Took the breaking record of all time, and that's exactly what Aiden's mentioned. When you score 4 goals and they score 24 goals, you don't know. This is like a game of juniors football. Very much so. You go and think you're going to host a game in Perth, Hands Oval. May as well just give them your hands, put them on the oval, and see you later. You call it North Melbourne Hands Museum. Because I think that is not That's all I can say. Anyway, I can't say too much about this football club. I think there is a massive question on overall. You cannot go and make a deal. And I think this year compared to last year, this is the worst defeat against Fremantle in history. I don't think Fremantle, well, not just Fremantle. Yes, we'll know you don't take teams lightly, but I think North Melbourne's has got a lot on their club, a lot going behind the scenes, but there's a lot going on. Right. West there, North Melbourne Footy Club, they tag on West Coast, and guess what? At Optus Stadium. What is the deal with West Coast not hosting this game? They're people going to think it's West Coast home game. Fair enough. The funny part is they are absolutely do not want to be spoken. Oh yeah, they then take on Richmond, North Melbourne. Now, the question is, can they beat, as well, Essendon? The bottom two sides. If they can't beat them, there's a question. Good on Essendon if they can. No offence. But that could be a very scrappy game because, and then eventually, somehow, I think North Melbourne's obviously have their buy-off week off already. So, nothing's enough. Fremantle. The Purple Haze are back in town. Where can you bring the original logo back in town? Because they are on top on just looting on Hands Oval. All over from the first quarter. Yeah, good job. After that, it was basically 20 goals, 8-0 after quarter time. That's what I can say. I apologise. Where's it say 20 goals, 8-2 goals, 3? That's overall in three-quarter football. That's not how we see it in the time. That was no near in the time. I didn't want to watch it, and I did not because I heard on the radio. When I heard, thought, yeah, no worries. It was a 9-goal, 48, 54 points down. North Melbourne could find a way to win. It didn't against the Gold Coast. They could not do against a team like Fremantle. Get challenger. Gold Coast are a good team. They were up. They were all about that. Fremantle knew how good North Melbourne found a way to come back or not find it. And in my spirit of this game, moving on, yet absolutely, Patrick Bowles is having one of those years. He is stepping up to the occasion. If he can get enough, hopefully he can get a medal for Fremantle club. There's not enough about the non-Victorians in this world. They should go up and be the known players, and that's not get out, stay in, get that 20 final, and get in that GS. And know it's early, Aiden, but look out. They are not like the LA Crows. Yes, there was a lot going on. It can happen. The last few weeks can happen, but I don't think Fremantle. I think they still, even you win by 1 point every week, they've got the best percentage almost by far in the AFL. The second team, the next player, Michael Reid. Yep, another player that I can't say not fair on the North Melbourne. I'm going to give them one good player who stand out. If they can't get 70 fans to do this. Anyway, that's not about the fantasy. It's about how they did. Absolutely right. One of the players, Luke Jackson, maybe not those lot of hit outs, but he also from Fremantle. Being a bit nice here, and I'm going to give them to who is the best player. Callum Daniel and Luke Parker. The experience of Harry Sicily, and that's it. I cannot see them forming that great, but they did their best, but not enough, giving them more Fremantle credit. That's enough of my thoughts. Now time to get in next game. We are back with another rival. Now, I don't like different rivals at different rounds of the season. I really like Aiden, but I personally like to see every rival club run round. All traditional, all time, the big ones gone prior time, and not as big drops. Now, we have the 30th Queensland clash, known for you Gold Coast Zone, the Brisbane Lions. Anything I won a 42 competition, the only one. Brisbane 15 goals, 15, 16, 106, defeated 11-9, 75, not as bad in other teams scored poor. Brisbane, revenge bout, a 5-goal, 31 points. Over an improved Gold Coast. I just don't know where they are at the moment. Starting with Gold Coast. How they start, I want to share. I did not watch the game, but a good rival suit. They reply after quarter time. 2 goals scored with the mighty Lions on top. They kicked them out of 5 goals piece to move. Bills make it a poor effort. 4-5 to 5-2. Ooh, the Gold Coast Suns doing a 3-point at quarter half-time, winning that quarter. Very important quarter because they kicked 4-5, the same scores like the Brisbane Lions. Brisbane Lions took home a 6-8. So look at accuracies, back kicking, could be rain on Gold Coast as well. It can happen this time of year. It happens. Brisbane making sure I really like. It's not exciting rival, but the showdowns and the derbies, Western derbies and the Sydney derbies, they're different rivals all over. And we all have our Victorian rivals are always vital, like the Essendon Carlton game I'll share very soon. But Essendon are not in best view. I tell you right now, you have a rival, Essendon will come out share that very soon. All right, Brisbane again, back to them. Big winners. It happens. Losing against the Giants, breaking the record for the Giants, kicking wherever remember in the third quarter, breaking April Beerville record against the Plenty as well. Then they came, got beaten. Yes, that's the past. We all look against the top race Fremantle Dockers at home. Go tag on your rivals, won by 31 points. That is a bounce back. But how much is important that the Brisbane Lions needed to take on at Ninja Stadium, which Richmond, that's Hobart, Richmond's home game. See that? And then followed by Brisbane. I believe they will have their week off, which you very much believe reigning premiers. So, good job, Brisbane. All the best next week. Gold Coast, get back on the track. Yes, it's not going to be easy against the Geelong Cats, bouncing heavily, and then followed by Gold Coast Suns. Don't know where they are after this. So, following week be against Fremantle. So that be a really interesting dance, and that is only in 2-3 weeks' time. Getting back to round 10. Players again now are not going to be out of Gold Coast. I think that's still a good team. So, look, the most record, not even kick one goal, but 15 mark, one tackle. 146 over density. It's the most density we've seen in such a long time. John Nobley. Bob Miller is my second best, and Noah Anderson. I can't go past anyone that. There's no Matt Rao being maybe his best forward, same with Patrick Cripps, not the favourite of ground load. But we've got to go past. You can't go for a Morris, Neil, and as well, pretty hard to pick. Player can just do Jarberry. They're my top 3 best on grounds. Aiden, it's time for your Q Class 30 Gold Coast Brisbane.
All right, another year goes by, another Q Clash goes by. Now, Ben, as you said, it's probably not the biggest rivalry that there is in football between, other ones like Carlton and Collingwood, even some of the other Victorian ones, Showdown, Western Derby, Battle of the Bridge. But it's Queensland, and it's hard to win in a rugby state. It's hard to get AFL over in a rugby state, and I understand that. But these two teams, and this is what impresses me, is Queensland's naturally a rugby state. Gold Coast and Brisbane, always a great game. Not necessarily always a close margin, but always a high quality game of football. Now, how many other rivalries can you say about that? Because the Western Derby is very much a ping pong game. It's very much one way, very much the other way. The Showdown, again, very close. Maybe not always the greatest quality over the long stretch of time, but definitely a great game. Battle of the Bridge, the same. Probably not the greatest quality, but definitely something to it. Now, here in this one, Q Clash 30, as you said, Bren, Brisbane defeated the Gold Coast by 31, 15-16, 106, 11-9, 75. Now, Gold Coast are a team who I'm starting to get a lot of questions about because Damien Hardwick, when he came into the job, said, I've got 80% of my premiership list here. Now, that list has turned over quite a bit in only the last couple of years he's been there. And they seem to be a team who just don't know who they are. They don't know exactly if they're a team who can go and contend for a premiership and really push for top 4, or they're going to be a team who, well, they're in 7th at the moment, so they're top of the wild card. They're on that bubble right now, so they're a team that don't know if they can really push up, or they're going to be one of these teams playing a 5-6 game or a wildcard game. So, and we see 2 versions of Gold Coast, and that's what really gets me. Is there's 2 versions of the Gold Coast we see every week. There's the version of Gold Coast that come out and play the best football you've ever seen, and then there's this version of Gold Coast that just look really behind the ball and really sluggish. Now, this isn't where it needs to change for them. I think that when they play their best, I think they're a lot more aggressive with the football, and I think that when they play teams, they sometimes do get scared of being aggressive. They are scared of turnover, and that's what happened here in this one. The Brisbane Lions were absolutely on the turnover in this one, And for another team who right now, the back-to-back reign defending premiers right now, they're barely in a wild card in ninth. Brisbane, another team who I really don't know who goes where. One of these teams could rise, one of these teams could fall, but Brisbane do get the win here in this one. So that's just as important here is every week now as the season starts to shake out and we see who's hurt and we talk about the ladder. We're looking at the ladder now just before we go on. Freo and Sydney have kicked clear of third. They are gone of third place. So we're already starting to see gaps open up. Now, wildcard very much in the mix for a lot of teams. Top four starting to get away a little bit. So these teams now need to get on form. Both Brisbane and Gold Coast need to get on form so they can really push into the top four. And that will definitely the lower half of the top four, 3 and 4, 3, 5, and 6 to make a finals without having to play in the wildcard game. Now, for me, the player of the game here is, it should be Logan Morris. So Logan Morris, 7 goals for, absolutely could have had a lot more as well, 7-4 and a lot more. 17 kicks, 17 touches, 17 kicks, no handballs, 9 marks, 1 tackle, 128 AFL fantasy for him. Also good for Brisbane, as you said, Ben Lockie-Neal, 122, 37, 18, 19, 5 and 3. And Darcy Wilmot as well had a good game, 103, 25, 20, 5, 9 and 2. For the Gold Coast Suns, John Noble, 146, 36, 23, 13, 15 and 1 for a triple-double. Tuke Miller, 94, 24, 11, 13, 8 and 3. And Nora Anderson, 83, 25, 13, 12, 5 and 3. And that is my best players for Q Clash 30.
Before we get into that Saturday night between the West Coast Eagles and the Port Adelaide Power. Now, we know about Hawthorn got 9, 17, 71. Western Bulldogs 5, 77, 71, 77. Do you know the other one? We are in the final score for this one, 10, 11, 71 to 11, 11, 77. Do you have an idea of having that? Port Adelaide, big win here. Under Josh Carr, Port Adelaide they're finding a good way. They're learning their losses. You go to Perth and take the W. Now, we didn't really spoke about this before, Aiden, and we can talk about this after the rounds finish, about our reviews about, how games went deeply. And one game I'm going to be sharing just at the end of the round. So, getting on to West Coast. They are, the last time these two met, that West took the 2-point victory. We know Port Adelaide were famous for that. We then step back. It's like Geelong, Adelaide did to Geelong. It's such a long time coming. Port Adelaide take them back. Similar under 6 points, not 2 points, but 6. So basically, Port Adelaide got their revenge. Fair enough. Not as great. But I tell you right now, West Coast, I'm proof. They will learn this lot. They'll come together. My goodness, they've got a decent Bailey, Jane Williams, the luck for West Coast absolutely improved itself to be one of the best ruck today for the season in Geelong. In fact, it is 20th anniversary West Coast premiership under Dean Cox. That's the little coach at 6. So that's going to be interesting between West Coast go to head. It's always a good rival there, but anyway. Getting back to this game, Port Adelaide, like I said, big win. This is something that Port Adelaide had beaten Geelong by 5 goals and then goes to West, not Sydney Oval, Optus Stadium. A field since Optus Stadium taken over, personally known as Perth Stadium. It is not the same. It has changed. In the last 20 years, I do not see the same West Coast. I just don't see it. I miss the old big bump and all that, Aiden. Now, I tell you right now, sure, some Northern coverage a little down the show. Moving on. But I gotta say, big thing is it wasn't a big margin. West Coast found a way saying the game. They get 5 goals, 9. What is big halves, if you notice in big ways, more points than goals have kicked in actually this year. So West Coast kicked 5 goals, 9. 39 points. That's 7 behind what Port Adelaide. 5 goals, 4. So the second half, it was even overall. Port Adelaide got the better accuracy overall. So I'll tell you right now, finding right now for both teams, may not play finals, obviously not West Coast. Port Adelaide are, they're not going to be on the, yes, they're going to be on the final half of season. But if they bring some really talent, they're looking better. West Coast, they're on the mark being better, but they know. Teams for these two teams, well, we'll start with the Port Adelaide, that's from Sydney. This could be an interesting. They do the same thing they did last year against Sydney. Sydney had no idea what happened. Could we see the same Port Adelaide? Had no idea they just came out of the block, or it's going to be all Sydney all night. And that team we have was, in this finishing this up, and I think not. West Coast do take North Melbourne. Now, the interesting thing, West Coast are the away team for this game. I'm not, like I said, Aiden, I'm not a fan of North Melbourne hosting a game at David when it's West Coast. That doesn't make sense. And they're both, guess what? Also interesting fact is Fremantle don't travel away from Perth. Same with West. That doesn't make sense. That is agreement from the AFL with North Melbourne. They're being more people. That's block. Anyway, play of the game. Making to move on. My goodness, could we have anything but Tom McCarthy, Jake Waterman, and Tim Kelly? That just have to be my best. Now, Jason Horn-Farnes has just really never given up. He has had his injuries, come back in the team. We have Burgundy. It is known for Jace. Burgundy is my second, and I'm going to give it to John Sweet. 38 hit out of Ghent. I think Port Adelaide won that hit out. Pretty even against Bailey Wynn, also dominate, but one step better. Well on to West Coast Eagles. Aiden, all right, let's drive into your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. This game's an interesting one because this is the first. I think this is the first series of completed games for this year. So we've had this is the first home and home. Yeah, so this is the first home and home that's been completed this year. And West Coast won it in Adelaide, and Port Adelaide's won it here in West Australia. Both games very close margins in the end. The final margin between both games was 8 points combined, so 2 in Adelaide to West Coast, 6 here in favour of Port Adelaide in West Australia. Now, having a look at how this game went, Port Adelaide, when the moments were there and the footy was to be won, I saw teal. I didn't see a lot of blue. I saw a lot of teal. And that's telling because Port Adelaide are a team right now who are going back to their roots. This is the old Port Adelaide that I grew up on. Getting to the footy first and getting first use of the footy. That is so important in the Port Adelaide system under Josh Carr, just like it was under Mark Williams. Now, obviously, there's the connection there. But for the Power, I just see these moments where when the game was there to be won, they stood up more. When the game was there on the line, they put their body into the contest. And that's what Port Adelaide football is about. Now, that to me also, it shows that they're not completely gone. They're showing the ability to get back to where they were a couple of years ago. It'll take some time, but they will get there. And again, for West Coast, as I was saying, when the game was on the line, I didn't see any blue and yellow. I didn't see any blue and yellow at all. There were moments where I thought, this is West Coast. They're going to get the ball, they're going to go on a run, and they're going to do something with it. And then they gave it to it. And then it went back to a Port player, and the Power went back on with it and probably put it through the big sticks, knowing how this game went, especially when I get to my player of the game. We'll get to that in a minute. But for both these teams, this is a learning lesson. West Coast, you have to show body in these close games. You did it so well in the early half of the year. But now that the season's getting long and the games are getting tough, it's starting to show up a little bit, that it's starting to dwindle a little bit. When you have to play physical games of football, you're just not there. And the Port Adelaide Football Club, this is what they're about. And the same with West Coast, this is what these teams are about. But Port Adelaide on the day stood up more, and especially when the game was there to be won, and that's why he is my player of the game. In Jason Horn-Francis, 99 fantasy, 3 goals, 18 touches, 13 kicks, 5 handballs, 6 marks, and 3 tackles for Jason Horn-Francis. When the game's there to be run, for the Power, he was there. I didn't see that from the West Coast players. Also best for the Power, Jace Burgoyne, 97, 24, 17, 7, 5, and 4, and Jordan Sweet, 91 goal, 16, 6, 10, 2, 1, and 38 hit out. My best for West Coast, Tom McCarthy, 130, 31, 23, 8, 11, and 3. Jake Waterman, 119, 3 goals, 19, 14, 5, 11, and 3. All right, next game on the docket for round 13, we head to Sydney. We head to the SCG for the Sydney Swans and the Saints. And this game was an absolute SCG classic. We talked about an Adelaide Oval Classic to open the round. We had an SCG Classic to open up our account on Sunday. Final scores in this one, the Sydney Swans, 15-14, 104. St Kilda, 15-12, 102. Sydney winning this one by 2 points. And it's funny because St Kilda kicked away. St Kilda at one point were 32 points clear in the first half. They were gone. Into the middle of the first quarter was their biggest margin. Then the Swans came back in the second half, kicking 6 goals to 4 in the second half. But I was watching this game, and at no point did I think to myself, St Kilda's got this. St Kilda's going to find a way. Because I know St Kilda. We all know St Kilda. We know what St Kilda's going to do. They're going to make it a great game. They're going to make it a 5-star classic, and they're going to lose because that's what St Kilda do. And that's the difference between St Kilda being a contender and St Kilda being, well, St Kilda. And it's painful to say it because I see the talent on the list. I see the money coming in for players. Nass is still there. De Koning's come in. Ryan's come in. Flanders come in. And you're still St Kilda doing St Kilda thing. Now, Sydney, much applause to you guys. This is absolutely the difference between a top team and St Kilda. But to come back in the fashion that you did when the game was long and you ran out of interchange and there wasn't much to go in the game and you found a way at the death to win this game through Dry Sarong, that's the bar. If you're St Kilda, and I'm going to say that Sydney are setting the bar. Sydney are the bar. If you're St Kilda, you need to look at this game not as what could have been. You need to look at Sydney and being like, that's the level we need to get to be a genuine contender, because St Kilda right now still very, very floppy. And I don't know what I'm going to make of it. I think that I don't even know if Ross Lyon's the plan. I don't know what the long-term plan is. And that's sad because Sydney, I know what the plan is. Dean Cock, the long line of coaches, Paul Roos, John Longmuir, Dean Cock. The plan has been in action for the last 20 years. And the Swans have been banking flag after flag after flag, or at least multiple grand final appearances. St Kilda have been stuck in 13 for the last 20 years. Okay, they did play 2 grand finals. One was a draw. Neither of them count. They lost both of them. But do you see the difference, though? Because that's the difference between a top team and a team who are stuck in 13. Player of the game. Going to have to give it to my guy. Going to have to give it to Isaac Heaney here for Sydney. 110 fantasy, 2 goals, 30, 15, 15, 1 and 6 for Heaney. Another best for Sydney was Chad Warner. 107, 2 goals, 29, 16, 13, 5 and 2. And Nick Blakey, 105, 26, 26, 8 and 3. Best for St Kilda are Hall, 108 fantasy, 1 goal, 27, 13, 14, 5 and 5. Garcia, 107, 29, 14, 15, 4 and 6. And Nass as well, 105, 1 goal, 32, 10, 1 and 2.
You may started with a classic. We've got 2 classic Sundays. We have not seen a long weekend for long weekends, and we got 3 classic games, big rivals. I don't call this a rival. I call this a classic. Well, Sydney, the last 9 seconds, St Kilda flat, Sydney goal, magic moment. Who just can't believe can keep straight after goal? Yes, I did watch this game, but the person who absolutely finished it, I could not totally remember who kicked that goal, which I should know, but it doesn't matter. Sydney's still winner. St Kilda, on the other hand, will get to you. Sydney, how can your good team, your talented team, but you find a way that St Kilda will not let you in? Now, 30 plus points, roughly about 32 if I got that correct. And you find a way. Then Cock got the equal back magic to bring to Sydney, to learn from John Longmire, to be the assistant at West Coast, at Sydney Swans, was as if the West Coast shop was open. And I tell you right now, he's in a good spirit, knowing that Sydney will good. Yes, he played for Dean Cock because he played for West Coast. I'm presuming if that's correct. That doesn't matter at all. But I can tell you right now, Sydney can play this every week. There's a concern. This is the wake-up call from Sydney. You got the mighty Dockers absolutely caught a touch over the Roos over the fence, basically kicked them out. So, and regardless of this game, there's not much to say because I didn't think this was a deserved win for Sydney. They need to wake up and realise a team that's 13 can actually, they should be in the top 4. That was a top 4 St Kilda team out there playing. But it has to be, and we'll share the Essendon and Carlton game soon. It's a team like St Kilda wants to show when they want to show up. You're going to show up full quarters. Yes, they did. But I just feel like Sydney playing like this again, there's a bit of a whole question. Sydney are such a good talent team. St Kilda, they need to look how could they lose game. And that. All right, the next part I want to share, we're going to share that Sydney will travel to Port Adelaide of Adelaide Oval. All that here's to the team I'm going to be sharing. St Kilda will absolutely be back in Melbourne. They'll be released with that. How can they take on the Giants? They'll be having a week off. So I don't know how the Saints will take on the Giants. But now, right now, it's part of the game. I can't say too much of these two sides go head to head because they always have to find a way to see a classic. So with my phone not playing up, I may phone a moment and we'll get into the next game. So yeah, like you said, Aidan, like Isaac Hingy, he's finds ways, he half not too much space for him on our side work. So Jack Winger, I think his player took the winning goal. I saw it. It was in a right contest, I think Brody Grundy won it. And speaking of Brody Grundy, I'll give him the, may not get that mark, but he got those lovely taps. Better get out game there. For this Saint, look, there's always challenges in there. Luke, that's right. Liam Ryan is setting up there. He's playing his best ball. Coach Lee was from the Blues, and I'm going to also give it to sides work. I'll give it to National Winger Mamila as well. I think, not much winning on Woody. So they are my players. It's time for the long weekend in Australia called the long weekend. We are in that season, the halfway mark. We've gone. We are going to Sunday night football. We don't have that as much anymore. We missed it. Should we bring back Sunday night football? And the fellas next me saying absolutely. I think we should. Because yes, we have a Thursday night. Yes, that's a brand new thing. It's a new modern thing. Yes, we have a Friday night. Double header. I'm not a fan of. We have a Sunday afternoon. We have one Sunday afternoon, two Saturday night Sundays. How close that is. Since we've had two new traditional, now we have three new teams coming to the AFL in the last 7 years. I don't know. Maybe 15 years. 2011, Gold Coast come in, Giants come in, and now the mighty. Cannot say too much. Not the Devils. They are coming in, but they're the other team. Bingo. But that's all right. It's time for the Sunday night. We're back in Melbourne. Okay. We all can finish off with two traditional special round for this. And it's, I think, Aiden, it'd be better for you as well as you, but this is what they called, and I need to get the correct game up if they have it. Fight Mine. So, more for Aiden, you can find more from Fight Mine explainable for our listeners. If you're enjoying this, make sure you give this a like, and you like more of this, make sure to tune in. Wherever you get your podcasts, keep following Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. So, final score. Oh, I did not see this coming at all. Actually, I thought it was going to be a bit of a rubby game. Both teams are just iffy. Carlton taking the W. This is a confident W, but very more could Essendon won this game now. Essendon, whenever they want to win, they want to find a way. Yes, they've got to be proud of the red and black army coming against the blue and white army. MCG, 89,000 screaming supporters, and this is what you're going to get. 10 goals, 7 behind, 7 defeated, 10-12, 72 Carlton. I said 5-point victories. How can the Essendon came out on top? I did not watch this game. I may watch just a little bit. Boy, Essendon had the chance to took this W. There were 3 goals, 2.5 goals. I don't care how you can record on my screen. Well, I'm just Essendon wanted them more, but they could not hold on to their breath time. But how much players want to step up, how important this game was? That's how Essendon wants to do. You cannot do that. You're going to play every week. You're going to tag on the challenges, tag on the best teams, and know that you are a team. Yes, a coach named Brad Scott. He's not in the coaching seat. He's resigned. He's gone. You got another coach. Is he going to be the next one for the Essendon Bombers? We don't know. I personally think they need to still find their next coach. They have not won since the Baby Bombers. The Baby Bombers, Aiden. It's insane. For a football club, they struggled. One good year, they were under Brad Scott. They actually had their Essendon faithful supporters. They were coming out every week. They have lost their club. Yes, it is a big deal when you are struggling. You got to trust every team on Woods. Every player for that club goes through at Windy Hill, which I've been to that facility, seen the Bombers train, and I tell you right now, our mates, they're not bad. It's a different environment, but it's not far from where my uncle lives and all that. He's a big Essendon supporter, and he supports the Crows due to I go for the LA Crows. So he knows he likes the LA Crows to play. But he's Essendon #1 by heart. That's true supporter. He may not go to the games, but he will still support them no matter what. How they go through. Now, for the Carlton Blues, Josh Fraser, is he the man for the job? Is he going to take from the Collingwood former ruckman? And that's the man. He is coaching Carlton, not Collingwood, Carlton, the team he used to play in the 2000s. He was a decent ruckman. I think he played for Gold Coast, I could be wrong on that. But for his career. But time, a player, now he's a coach. Strange things happen when a good player goes to a team in a good place. And I think Josh Fraser personally right for the man job, take him one step better. Yes, that's what happened to Michael Cross. That happened to Michael Cross. There he was the man for the job. Now let's just think, is he the right for the role? And I think that's done in some ways. Yes, it's been Geelong. Yes, it's been Port. Now it's been Essendon, a very, very struggling game. That's it. I'll give him right now. This is the team that finds ways to win. That's the league I want to see. Anyway, play of the game. Play of the game. And say that 3 times. All right. Sixth merit. We have Will Sanniford and the number 22, Sam Gersham for Essendon. For the mighty Black Blues, they're known for Carlton Blues. Yours, highlights. We have the Jagger Smith. And I'm going to give it to a player. He's done very well. I'm going to make it Harry Mackay. Well done to the Blues. Essendon heads up. Now, for Essendon, they will take on Melbourne. The mighty Carlton Blues will have that week. They'll enjoy that week. They'll be fresh off the bye and hope they're bringing home against the Giants. Hayden, it's time for your King's Birthday Eve traditional Dons and the Blues.
All right, Sunday night football on the King's birthday. And this year, it wasn't just a game of football. It was about celebrating Neil Danaher, one of the greats of the game, one of the greatest people of the game. And Essendon and Carlton, they've done it before, but this year it meant so much more. Ben, as you said, Carlton winning this one by 5 points, 10-12, 72 to 10-7, 67. Josh Fraser is doing a job at Carlton. This was the battle of the interims. Josh Fraser versus Dean Solomon. Josh Fraser gets the job done for the Blues in what can only be described as a Sunday classic. Now, Essendon, you had opportunities. You had so many opportunities. You had the better of the first half. You were, even going late into that third quarter, you were in the game. You were in the lead. And then the last quarter, you just got outscored. So for the Bombers, there's a lot you can take out of it. You played a game where you kept the scoreline low, and a lot of coaches will say this, is when we have a new team, if we can minimise what the opposition scores, we're going to be in with a chance. And you did that exactly what you needed to do, but you just couldn't get over the line. For Carlton, I think they've got the much better list out of the two teams. I don't know with Carlton. It's unfortunate that they decided to stick with Michael. I think that as we get further and further into the season, that mistake is going to come back to haunt them, because Josh Fraser is 4 for 4, and this team is looking nothing like the team that were playing under Michael Voss. So just in the last 4 weeks, big changes for Carlton, not just in the coach's box, but in their attitude to football and the way that they're going about playing the game. And that means that they're getting these victories. They're finding ways to win. They did it against the Cats. They do it again against the Bombers. And I just don't know if there's anything that can stop Carlton from going on a bigger run come next year, because I think if Josh Fraser decides he is the man for the job, I know he said he doesn't really want it, but he could be forced into it by just having the players behind him, or if that run continues this year, this could be a very dangerous Carlton team. They've still got a lot of good players on that list, and because of their poor start, even a good run here should get them a decent pick in the draft, so they could be right in the mix. My players of the game in this one. We're going to start with the Bombers here. So Zach Merritt, player of the game, 126 fantasy, 33 touches, 23 kicks, 10 handballs, 8 marks, and 3 tackles. Sam Durham, 132 fantasy, 1 goal, 30, 16, 14, 10, and 5 for a triple-double. Will Setterfield, 101, 29, 17, 12, 4 and 4. For Carlton, George Hewitt, 106, 1 goal, 27, 11, 16, 6 and 4. Then we have Chera on 100 and not 100, on 89, 18, 12, 6, 11 and 2. And Harry Mackay as well on with the 3 goals, 85, 3 goals, 16, 10, 6, 7 and 1 with 2 hit out as well. Now we come to one of the biggest days in football this year, probably the biggest day, the Kings' birthday game between Collingwood and Melbourne. The game for FightMND, where we seem to send celebrities into a pool of freezing cold water for the benefit of raising money to find a cure for motor neuron disease. The charge previously led by Neil Danaher and taken on by his family to continue that legacy. And to say it's taken over the country would be an understatement. To see thousands and thousands and thousands of people decked out in the FightMND blue beanies at the MCG on Monday was an absolute statement from the nation. This game going forward is going to be bigger than football. The King's birthday round is not just about football anymore. It will be about celebrating the life and times of Neil Danaher and his continued fight for a cure for motor neuron disease. Now, the game. Another great game and a great salute to Neil Danaher as we had another MCG classic here in the King's birthday game. Collingwood 9-11-75. Melbourne 12-11. 83. Melbourne winning this one by 8 points, and that's probably a very, very fair margin. It was very, very, very tight all day. Collingwood probably had the better of the opening half, and then Melbourne found a new plan and found a way to win the game. Now, for Collingwood, I'm starting to see a pattern here. I think that the age of their key players is catching up to them quite quickly. And while Scott Pendlebury is going on and extending his record week to week, it is coming at the, how can I put this? It's coming at the, well, see, he's not even the problem. I don't think he's the problem, but it is coming at the expense of the team record. Collingwood, we have a look at them on the ladder. We find them outside the wild card in 11th. So while Dacos brothers are doing their best, there are other players who need to step up. And I know they have some injuries. They lost Jamie Elliott a couple of weeks ago in the Scott Pendlebury game. But other players need to step up if they're going to be in the mix come September. Melbourne, this is probably one of the surprises of the season. Not just this result, but this season. Melbourne, team who looked like they were going backwards into the oblivion for the last couple of years under Simon Goodwin. They make the move and they bring in Stephen King. Melbourne have another week, a win for Melbourne sees them up to 5th on the ladder, and they're a team who still have quite a few players from that premiership, most notably Max Gawn and Cozzy Pickett. Now, Melbourne, I think this is the chance they've got. They've got an opportunity now, but they're going to have a run to really push. We've seen them, they settled in a little bit later than I think we expected them to. They really looked the part from after gather round up to here, but now they're going to have an opportunity to settle in and go where they belong, and that is probably they could even end up top 4, but I think they should definitely be safe of a wild card. Played the better on the day against Collingwood. Now, player of the game here, this one's going to be a little bit different. This one, I'm going to acknowledge not just any player who played football, but I'm going to acknowledge any player who put in an effort above and beyond. So on my list, Max Gawn, Melbourne. Nick Dacos, Collingwood. Keziah Pickett, Melbourne. Josh Dacos, Collingwood. Tom Sparrow, Melbourne. Jack Steele, Melbourne. Jordan De Goey, Collingwood. Harry Perryman, Collingwood. Bailey Fritsch, Melbourne. And Boy McCreary, Collingwood.
It's time to celebrate one of the biggest days in the football calendar. Yes, we have the end that day. We got the grand final, but most important, the 4 nights from the Queen to the King. The King's birthday traditional Collingwood. Melbourne, beautiful, icy bath day. Now, yes, Melbourne. Well, I can say you got the job done. 12 and 11 days, 3 11 9 75. Now, I'm not going to say too much, Aiden, really going into detail of this game. So, how it all happened, Collingwood, they hit 4 goals to 3 goals. Okay, fair enough. 2 goals, 2. Margin so tight, anyone's game. 6-3 to 5-7, 2 points. That means 39 to 37. Then it changed to 3 goals apiece. Collingwood winning the quarter by 3 minus. Plus 2 goals, 3 to 4 goals, 5. Melbourne won the second half. Melbourne won the game. 4 goals, 2. It happens. This is what I was saying was more deeply into Collingwood. Yes, Collingwood lost great talent in there. This is not the Collingwood Magpies we're not going to see in season 2026. They're going to try have an off season and not play final. They are not the Collingwood Magpies that, they're struggling. Melbourne, they've got Stephen Keen's finding ways to win games. And the man showed up to very shortly. It's sparked the MCG. The Red and Blue Army come back from the dark times. Since Simon Goodwin, this is the last few years that Stephen King was going to be the man to drop and done. He's really sparked. Best 2 midfielders have left the Gold Coast and the Giants, and that's still a decent side. I put Melbourne in 17. Same trend. The mid-season ladder is coming. So, how did Melbourne start this season? I don't know. We're coming up to them. Now, they're fifth. They're fifth because they are believing. They've got a decent good percent, 100+%, and they're taking on some reasonable good teams. No one's expecting. But guess what? We rely on too many good players with those Trutzer and the Oliver, Clan Oliver. Those days are over. They moved on. And look, they got Jack Steele in team, and they're looking pretty. My part of the game, I'm going to do something similar. Instead of doing it in order, I'm going to share. More importantly, Koji Pickett. The man has won the game. Matt Scorn has done the ruck. The second best ruck for the round. We've got the Nick Dacos. Yes, the Dacos brothers. We've got the Picketts, and we've got the Gorns. They are my 2 English players. Can't go past that. We're done. We're done. We're done. We're done the AFL, the Australian Football League. We're going to the local team for the SANFL, the South Australian National Football League. But before we get into the major league, we're going to be talking about the ninth core of I-League, inclusively. Sponsored by the APM. It is a sponsor. It is an employment service in South Australia. They are their main sponsor. You may see there's a state football team that go once a year in Queensland. They've got the Queensland. They've got the Tasmanian, with one of the best teams in the inclusive. But I would like to share some history. Premiership, now unfortunately not. So, don't know what happened there, but it was very, very interesting to know there's so many, teams come and gone, all. I've got it on my screen right now. For the last 30 properties, they used to know SANFL 12, C7. I've come known as C7 back in 2020. I played for the Penrith Football Club since 2020, my year already. Made 4 grand finals and only 1 pretty good effort with my I've kicked roughly about 11 goals in over 80 games. Not a lot, good effort. So, getting on to the Premiership records, teams have come and gone. Teams like Heckerville, a team that used to come in and now they disappeared. Another team that's been there since day one and they have not won a premiership. Get back to that year. It's been a long time. Since 1993, Goodwood won their first premiership for the inclusive. Then they're known for Green Anchors. With this season, 2026, the seniors of the Kenilworth Club did those. So the years of 1994 and 1995 went back to back. The next team is Goodwood, 1996, Aiden. In history of books, Goodwood has not won a premiership in 50 years. I tell you right now, they have that I respect. They're a good team. I trained with them, went to Kenilworth. A team called Lockley. Another team used to come into the inclusive back in 1997. They then back to Green Anchors and they disappeared as well. But then this university came into the late 90,000 and they won and they no longer. Then from 2002, 2003, 2004, the Green Anchors Footy Club won more premierships in the history of this competition. They exist, but not in the competition. Then we have the Kookaburras of Kenilworth, won 3 premierships, 2005 and 07. Salisbury, Magpies are still in the competition, won a premiership 2008, 2009, back to back. I apologise, 2009 with Kenilworth. Salisbury won 1, 2, 3, 4. From 2010, 2013. That was the era. So, and then Kilburn, 3 years in a row. Then this year for a few years now returned back in 2003, if I'm correct. Then Kilburn won premiership, and then the team called Eastern Park, they came and destroyed 2017, 2001, 1, 3, 4, 5 premiership in a row. Can't go past. Green Yankees has won 6 from 7 seeds. Kenilworth won back-to-back 2022, 2023. Atherstone, the newest club, really has come in home in the last as well. Broadview as well. Kilburn over Kenilworth by 1 point since the 20th anniversary. Joining the club as well, their 20th anniversary was their first premiership in the comp. So it makes a big difference, Aidan. Many teams has come in and out. Broadview is the newest, and another team that's not one of them joined the comp. It's Chrissy's Beach. They're really teams that struggle. Chrissy Beach had a chance to win, unfortunately, no good there. So there your SANFL inclusive update history in the book. Now, Aidan, the moment we've been waiting for. We got the SANFL, the South Australian National Football League. We got the men's only. We're gonna now. I tell you right now, there's been some good moments there, and goodness sake, Aidan, yes, you're a West supporter, a Blood supporter. You're known for love for Nathan Bassett. But I tell you right now, I will share my foot if that's okay, and I'll get to a game. I'm not going to share too much of the first 4 games of this. I'm saving my big one for the Sturt and the Nord. I'm going to do all in a row. So first game between the Woodville West Torrens and Central District Bulldogs. 9-11-68, 11-59. The Woodville West Torrens Eagles took that W. They have lost some stars. They've been the best in the comp up to this mid-season drive in the AFL. 6-point victory, well done to Woodville West Torrens, making it short. 8-56, 8-13. Back kicking, back scoring. What's coming with big 6? You're supposed to get straight. West LA's won a lot more. But it is a scrubby, really fine ways that North LA are struggling over West LA. West LA took the W there. Now, I tell you right now, it was not a pretty sight to see that West LA started poorly and then took the W. Most important, a W over Messi is a victory. Take it or leave it. That's a nice way of saying. The next game, can we say South LA improving? What I'm improving? Yes, they're improving. But can they start well and they look flat after the quarter time goal to the LA Crows? Oh my goodness, very embarrassing. 8 goals, 5, 2, 3, 6 goals, 2. 6 goals, 3, I apologise to the LA Crows of the quarter time. 15 goals. Absolutely smashing that after quarter time. And that's how they won it. The next game, Glenelg and Port Adelaide. No different that Glenelg will bounce back. They took a W, 17 goals, 9, 111. Defeaters, winners for Glenelg Tigers. Now, before we get into this bit, the later update. I'm too excited. No, I will share this game. I went to this game. We had 5,000. We had spectators going, boo, ha, yay. Well, guess what? North took the win. That was not just a win. It was a victory. 13-4-82. A 12-7-79. 3 points, leave it or take it. I will take it. Last time these two played, Sturt took the W, and they keep poor. This time, Sturt keep poor. Now, I'm not going to go and get anything about this argument of pushing the back, Aidan. There was some really clear I was sitting on the, say I was near the North Interchange bench, directly about dying off that. On the opposite side, very similar. Both North and Sturt got a push. We're down like in different time. So basically, we don't all see. But besides that, Sturt, after quarter time, Sturt came out to 4 goals to 1. Sturt by 7 points. 3 goals 2 to 3 goals straight. North down by 8 points. 3 goals 1 to 3 goals 1. North won that quarter by 12 points to win by 4. I'll tell you right now, the reason why I'm only giving it to both teams respectfully, best players, I don't say it too much, but Will Smelly played really well. Tom Lewis played really well. Tom Imlet played really well. That's really, I'm going to give a free Nord as well. Then well, it's time to shine as well. There's so many talent players, and a player really dominated. Tom, Dr. Lee, Seymour, can't say the players do dominate, but there's so many players can dominate. And that is the big forward of Justin Callow with 4 goals and a bonus Aaron Francis, the last minute moments there. And I'm going to give it to Crows kick 3, correct. So well done to all the winners. And we do have our split round to Woodville West Adelaide Coast Reserve, we got the Glenelg Tigers and the North Melbourne. Switching into my round 10 and then an 8, and I'll let you share all this. Adelaide Coast, Woodville, and West Adelaide my round 10. With the teams yet to be playing Central District, Glenelg Tigers, Adelaide Crows. So, Saturday again, Central District, Glenelg, Sturt, Norwood, all yet to be all week top, I think, including some other player teams that, So, right, Aidan, take it away for your thoughts for the sample.
It comes up on you quick. We're halfway through the AFL. We're halfway through the SANFL as well. And this year has been a really good, really tight sample. So we got, 3 teams tied at the top on 7 and 2. We have, and I'll do the ladder first. So at the top, 3 teams tied 7 and 2, Norwood, Woodville and Bay. Sturt on 5 and 4, Crows 4 and 4. Then just outside the 5, South Adelaide 4 and 5, West Adelaide 3-5 and a draw, North 3 and 6, Port 2 and 6, and Central's 1-7 and the draw with West Adelaide. Now, there's a lot of games here where it was close, and that's what we want to see from the sample. So, you have a look at it. Woodville finding a way to get past Centrals by a goal. You have West Adelaide holding on against North Adelaide by 5 points. Those are great games, and yeah, it's good to see the mighty Bloods up on the winners list for the 3rd time this year, although their kicking was something else to be put to one side at 8-13, and that's not going to impress me one bit come the second half of the year. That has to be tighter. As I say, same standard, got to be tight. Then, South and Adelaide. South are a team who they do get hit a lot through the draft and through the mid-season draft. Same with teams like West and Woodville. They do lose a lot of players through this period to the AFL. They lose to the Crows. The Crows, though, they had a lot of their AFL list available, and because they had a lot of their AFL list available, a lot of players flooded back down to the SANFL to help that effort there. Then Port, Port have been a bit of a lost cause for the last couple of years in the SANFL. Get obliterated by the Bays, 111-62, and Cornell, as I said, they're in the mix for the minor premiership. Again, what changes? Not much with them. Here we go again. And then Ben, as you said, the real big game, Norwood and Sturt, and again, another game decided by 3 points. So, the SANFL doing what it does. Good teams playing against each other week in and week out, determining who is the premier side of South Australia. The second half of the season looks even better. We go into the split round. The team who I'm really interested in and is actually West Adelaide, because we've had this time under Nathan Bassett. We've had 9 games under Nathan Bassett, 3-5 and a draw. But realistically, only a couple of games out of the top 5. Can we go on a run now and take into that top 5? Because Crows, as they get injuries at AFL level, those will have to be amended through the SANFL. So I think the Crows are very gettable, and I think West Adelaide are going to be right there. I think South Adelaide are right there as well. So that is my look at the SANFL at the midway point of the season.
So we move away from let's just say, footy outside winter sport. We're going to the indoors. Called Netball, Suncorp Super. It's a sponsor from the Australian Netball competition. And we've got 4 teams, 4 games up teams. And boy, always have good contests. We are going to share the ladder. We're going to see that top 4. And I'm going to share right now. Going out of those 4 games, it's NSW, not even New South Wales Swiss. The Swiss. They took on the top place, Adelaide Thunderbirds. Adelaide Thunderbirds, 66-60. Well done there. We are the 2, Hot and Dunning, Queensland. The Firebirds hosting the Sunshine Coast Lightning. Same scores, the LA Lightning, very almost same scoreline. 66-59, 7-goal victory to the Firebirds. Once again, 50-59 in the Melbourne Derby. Melbourne Vinnick will take on Melbourne Vinnick. And the Marriott, those make more sense there. And Melbourne Marriott, the Melbourne Vinnick, they're all top, and they've lost they're confident. We never know where finals come. Anything can happen. So well done to the Melbourne Marriott to win there. The last and most West Coast Fever taking out 1 goal victory, 61-60. So you can actually say right now that 1, 2, 66, 60, 59, 59, 50, 60. All scoring under 70 goals for this round. Why do we see magic moments here? The round 14 previews the final round for the 2026 Suncorp Netball competition. We got Sunshine and Lightning. They are on and hosting the Adelaide Thunderbirds. A challenge on the line. The Adelaide Thunderbirds should take win. The Melbourne Merricks have taken on the improved challenging Melbourne Vinnics, their rivals. That host the Queensland Vipers. Both teams getting their both wins. Melbourne taking that win there. Melbourne Vinnick hosting the West Coast Fever. Both teams unsure where they are at the moment. The rain 20s are looking strong, but knowing that we're going to have a back-to-back over the weekend, the Melbourne Vinnick with the win there to finish off with we've got two New South Wales teams. We've got the Giants Net and the New South Wales DNSW, and I'm going to go for the New South Wales DNSW to take the win. Now we know that teams struggled all year. Could we see the Giants Net will get that one good win there, and as well, they will finish last, the Giants Netball. Queensland Fibers, their place with finishing in, they will not regain the form spot. They'll finish on dream spot, and the seventh coming in sixth is the mighty New South Wales. Now, anything can happen in finals, but unfortunately, these are the teams that are going to have to look into off-season, and they're starting that already with Sunshine Coast Lightning finishing outside the top spot. We have West Coast Fever, Melbourne Merrick, the other Melbourne Vinnick, and the other Thunderbirds will claim the top four. This is your top four. Congratulations, two teams. We're clearly going to finish top two. It's all to do with the other two teams. Who is finished third? Who's finished fourth? We'll find out next week. Thank you very much. That's your netball update. The NBL update will not be in this one. Stay tuned. We'll absolutely share that in the next part. That's it. All right, that's it. That's the wrap. Oh my goodness, we have done. All right, Aiden, thank you so much for your time in this episode. What a long episode we have. Thank you so much for your time once again, mate.
It's been a long one, but it's been good to get back to it, and especially King's birthday weekend that really should be called, and I'll say it now, really should be called Neil Danaher weekend going forward, especially with the AFL. So to be able to be here and talk about that is important. So yeah, thank you.
No worries. So like I said, if you totally love this idea of Aiden joining week in, week out, even if we're coming to that mid-year, we've got the finals for the netball, we just have work the NBL 1. We'll continue that with the NRL, the National Rugby League. Fortunately, we have not yet to update you all that. I won't go all back to wherever I was shared last. We'll totally get up and we'll go from that spot from the latest one. Maybe we can do a rugby and NBL show in the next one. All right, that's signing out. Thank you so much. Thanks, Aiden. BJ Shows. It's all, folks. Peace.